special Twin Flame episode where we're going to be talking to Ariel Sabillon. How are you doing, Ariel?
I'm dandy, thank you.
And where are you joining us from today?
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico. Okay. You sound American though, so is that where you're originally from, or are you from Puerto Rico?
Well, Puerto Rico is in the Caribbean. I'm originally from Central America, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And for those, this is our first episode, but we'll be interviewing lots of twin flames around the world to be able to get an insight what their journey is and what they've gone through. So before we get into anything, I want to, if you've got any social media links, I'll put them in the chat below. But is there any specific things that you're doing that you want to like talk about? This is time for you to give a little self promotion before we dive in deep.
Yeah, sure. I mean, follow me, Sanando con Ariel, on Instagram. I still haven't fully developed my social, so not a lot of promotion really needed. But if you want to join my journey and want to be a part of my loving network of healers and people in the same journey, of course, I would enjoy to connect.
So today we're going to ask quite a few in-depth questions actually, and if you get triggered, feel free to just take a moment, and you can also say that Manny, I don't want to say those, I don't want to answer that, and before we want to explain to the audience as well because I might get triggered, I might trigger the audience, and we use something called the mirror exercise. I don't know if you want to explain a little bit about that, and I can help you. But you've been on this journey longer than I have, so what is the mirror exercise and how can it help people who might get triggered during this conversation today?
Right. The mirror exercise is, first of all, one of, if not the most effective healing tool that there is. So it's, based on, there's like 4 layers to the mirror exercise, which is, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The way that I do the mirror exercise is I instantly feel the feeling. Let's say, I feel rejection. So I instantly go inside and give myself love in that space. So the mirror exercise is that you feel your feelings completely, you allow yourself the space to feel your feelings, and then you love yourself in that space. And you are responsible for your reality. Like that is the core basis of the twin flame journey. You are fully responsible for your own feelings. You're fully responsible for everything that you are creating in your reality. And the mirror exercise is the tool to take your power back.
So it's like working with that inner self, that inner child, and healing that and giving her or him whatever they want in order to be able to heal that block inside. Okay, so that's very important for us today. So before we get started, Ariel, what is your description or definition of twin flames? Because there's so much influence out there, and there's so many things people say. They say twin flames are just a catalyst, you're not meant to be with them, and it's what is your definition?
My definition of twin flames is very simple. It's you share a soul blueprint. So I would say, like in one sentence, it's a shared soul blueprint who comes together to purify their consciousness and to be perfect mirrors for one another, to be perfect teachers, to be perfect partners, to be perfect friends, and perfect lovers. It's that is just the basis of what a twin flame is. It's a spiritual technology. Some say, I've heard that description for twin flames is the spiritual technology, which is for us to designed for us to purify our consciousness. That is the
Purpose.
that is why there are twin flames. Yeah, that's why twin flames exist. They're meant for us to purify our consciousness in ascension journey.
And to ascend to be like an ascended master or whatever. And then what
Mm-hmm.
about divine feminine and masculine? Because I hear people say that you've got both of them and there's one in the other and all sorts of things. What is your perception on that, and what do you classify like yourself as?
Yeah, twin flames come in pairs, right? So you have a divine feminine polarity, and you have a divine masculine polarity. So I'm actually a divine feminine in my union. And I used to struggle with that. I actually just had a coaching session not that long ago to heal some of the blocks that were surrounding being the divine feminine in a masculine body. And one of the teachings that I've learned along the way is that you are 100% feminine or 100% masculine. It isn't like, sometimes like in the queer community, we think that we are both or that we are like 80% one or not, like 20% the other. And that's actually not true. We are 100% the feminine or 100% the masculine. But the way that it looks may not always be what you think it'll look like. It might not always look like what society thinks is a man or what society thinks a woman is. So I wouldn't fixate too much on the outward appearances. That was a big learning lesson for me, and more about how you feel and how you perceive energy and how you perceive yourself. I for sure feel very feminine. I like and I love it.
It's interesting because I had a coaching session a while back where like so I also have been told I'm the divine feminine, and for me it was like a little bit like, what is that, how is that, and how does it work? But it is the energy, and it was almost like electrons and protons and that sort of vibration energy, and it was like this huge cosmos of atomic energy coming forwards with the feminine and the masculine. And the feminine is not weak, she's a warrior, she's Amazonian, she's the leader actually in the twin flame journey. She's the one who drags the masculine forwards in a sense. Well, some people say, you might disagree. Um, anyway, did you know what twin flames were before you met your twin flame?
Actually, no, I did not. I found out about Twin Flames when I met him. When I met him, I started researching the internet, just up and down, just Twin Flames, and I kept seeing things about Twin Flames.
So let's start about the journey then. So let's start from the beginning. Um, how did you meet him? What was happening to Ariel's life before you met your twin flame, and then what happened as you met him, and then after?
Wow. Okay. So I was actually in college. I was doing an internship in Switzerland. I was living in Europe at that time, and I kind of had a very like diddly daddly type of like mentality, I suppose. Like I wasn't really like having any set plan in my life. So I ended up connecting with this very handsome man from Puerto Rico, and we started flirting. He sent me pictures, and I was like, "Wow, you are so beautiful," and I want to get to know you. We would talk on the phone for hours, and he's a poet, so imagine I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy is a dream come true." So I fly to see him in Puerto Rico, and as soon as I meet him in person, the mirroring already starts. Like the challenges, the blocks. I mean, it's really intense. How much they will mirror all the unhealed parts of you. And so it got too much for me. I ran away. I was like, I don't want to be with you. I broke up with him, and I did not talk to him for a year. And then I was called back to the Twin Flame journey, and I came back to him, and again the mirroring started. the It was intense. So
With the
I
mirroring, can we talk about the mirroring just quickly, in the sense that I know some twin flames who give up and they're like, oh, I can't be bothered, because they think the problem is the other person. But with mirroring,
mm,
it's actually all your own pain, your own blocks, your own shadow.
right. No, yeah, you are absolutely. I am, and This is where like the importance of community comes through, because the Twin Flame journey is not for the spiritual weak. Like it requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of spiritual work, and it's not something that you take a certification for a weekend, or you go to school for 4 years and boom, you are a Twin Flame master. It does not work like that. It requires a lot of devotion, a lot of commitment, and a lot of working through really, really dense feelings. I mean, and everybody has different levels of consciousness, right? So it's what according to where you are in your vibration. Innate can be very intense, and for me, it has been very intense for many times. My twin flame mirrored abandonment, rejection, feeling ugly, feeling undesirable, feeling like a loser, feeling like a failure. All of those things on twin flame mirrored to me, and it was through staying committed. At first, I was committed to the journey because I really wanted to be with him, and then I realized that it wasn't about him. It was really about purifying my consciousness and coming into union with God. And we can't leave that, to the side. Like that is a very important understanding if you're in the twin flame and in the twin flame journey and you are devoted to this. This is about union with God first and foremost.
So
That cannot be
I want to I want to
underestimated.
I want to get into God and spirituality and all those things as well. But before we get into that, I want to get into more of like the actual story of what happened. So you talked to this guy on the internet. You felt really
Mm-hmm.
connected. No triggering at that stage whilst you were online.
I would say that there was like triggering, but I don't think that there was like a lot of intense triggering. The intense triggering started when I, like I met with him, like I when I was, I lived with him for some time, and that is when the like intense mirroring started. Was the sense of abandonment and or rejection. It was really difficult. It was really difficult after
But
I
you
think we
stayed with
shared a
him.
little,
You
but
stayed with him for like a year or something, or what?
yeah,
Which is
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
a long time because some twin flames they meet and then they just like in my situation after a few, it's a separation, and so you never had an instant separation.
No, I was not. It was not like an instant separation. No, no, no. I was I lived with him. We essentially we actually it was actually really like powerful because we even did like a marriage ritual and everything. We never got physically married. But we we're very connected to each other in that way. But now we've been in separation for quite some time now. It's been about 2 years of separation, and I tried to get rid of him. I tried to cut off our connection, which you will see in the forums. Like, how can I get rid of him? How can I cut him off? How can I forget about him? Why am I dreaming about him? Why am I still hooked on this person? Because they're you, right? And you have to stick to the journey. I think that also there's the idea of like false twin flames, which is
Yes. So
God shows you somebody who you think is your twin flame, and they essentially do mirror. But as you start healing and you continue in the healing, they get revealed as false twin flames, or they get revealed as true twin flames.
let's talk about that. So I want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
few things where we go in step by step. So twin flames is a very sexy subject, right? I see it on websites, I see it in places. I went to see a healer a few months ago, and she's like, "Yeah, I put twin flames on the website because it's very attractive and people love it." I hear people say, "I've got 50 twin flames. Everyone I meet is my twin." What like
No,
I
absolutely.
feel like there's like a bastardization or like a weakening, what do you call it, a diluting of the term twin flame. Everyone wants to be a twin
Well,
flame. Yeah.
everybody has a twin flame. Well, Manny, I'll be real with you. I don't listen to all of that. I don't follow any TikToks. I don't like outside of Twin Flames universe because I just found a lot of nonsense out on the internet, and I would recommend to anybody who's viewing to maybe log out of that and don't listen to that, just because it's a lot of fluff and it's not effective. If you really want results, it's Twin Flames universe is really it's really where you will get results and where you will learn about what really is twin flames, and it requires a lot of devotion. Like I said, it's not something that um, you can half-ass, and God forbid if you're half-assing this journey, you're going to get half-ass results. That's been a huge lesson
So
in many aspects of my life.
let's give a shout out to Twin Flame Universe because that's how we met. And we're on Twin Flames
Absolutely.
Universe's Facebook, which is the open forum. And
Right.
if you haven't read Twin Flame Universe's book, you should read it. And we have Twin Flame Ascension coaches, master coaches, and we do the life purpose and the Twin Flame school. Like, it's really helped us because out there's so much nonsense. But Twin Flame Universe is
So
actually the only place that I have seen, and I research like a warrior, where they talk about union, harmonious union, and also doing it from a place of love. Because a lot of websites out there, like the divine masculine's an asshole, and
right.
he's the problem, and da, 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 da. People fail to then focus on their own selves. So How did you find Twin Flame Universe, and what have you been like? How has it been for you with Twin Flame Universe?
Wow. So, is Twin Flames Universe has been one of the greatest blessings in my life. So I remember 2 years ago. I mean, it's like on the dot 2 years ago. This is a funny story. My twin had texted me, and he was like, "You need to leave." He's like, we were living together at the time. He's like, "You need to leave." And I remember just being so desperate. I just felt like everything that I had built with this man was falling apart, and I just didn't understand why. And I really wanted to salvage my relationship. And I knew, because I had prayed and I had asked God for many signs, that this was my man, this is my man, this is my husband, this is who I'm meant to be. And I'm willing to put the work into, essentially, it felt like I was salvaging my marriage in a way. And in one of those, I saw that I was already a part of Twin Flames, the open forum, Twin Flames Universe open forum, but I never really gave it any attention. But at that time, I saw a post, and it was a coach, and I saw that you could get a 50% discount on a session. So I booked one session, and then the next day I booked another one, and I was doing like back to back to back to back sessions because it was just so much upset. I cannot remember how much I cried for like a whole year, just nonstop crying. And like I said, being in Twin Flames Universe just gave me a lot of my life back in terms of being able to heal, being able to understand what was happening, being able to create divine friendships, being able to create divine community, meeting my soul family. I have a lot to say about Twin Flame Universe, that how much it's enriched my life. So I'm very grateful, for it, and I continue connecting with people. Imagine I met you through there,
They have
and
lots of
so
free
it's
resources,
a
and
beautiful,
on the Facebook group, any question you have, always the master coaches, the
right?
coaches, they reply. They always reply. And some of these questions are so annoying. I know I ask a lot of questions because I'm like researching for my book and like people I help and stuff like that. And I'm like a
Uh,
intellectual junkie. But some of these
uh,
people, oh my god, they ask such ridiculous questions. But Twin Flame Universe are so compassionate and kind, and they
oh,
always answer.
yeah,
So no questions ridiculous, and there's so much support and love. But I want to backtrack. I want to
right.
backtrack. How did you know your
Mm-hmm.
twin flame was real? Like, let's talk about the experience you had with him. People talk about twin flame sex. That's very popular. So, like, what was it? What was different about this man and this connection you had that made you want to invest so much compared to any other person you met?
A sense of devotion. I felt devoted to this man. I feel devoted to this man. Um, well, 2 years in separation, I think that like I'm less attached to him. So let's say God, in a couple of months from now reveals him as my faults, like I, surrender that and allow God to, lead me there. Just putting that for myself because that feels good to say. But with him, I felt a strong sense of devotion. Just this huge heart opening experience. It wasn't like, I mean, he's a very beautiful man, of course, but it wasn't like through engaging with him sexually that I felt like I was connecting with him. I was very promiscuous before I met him, and meeting him is what, kind of took me out of that and allowed me to really value this spiritual intimacy, this emotional intimacy that I was having with him. And I met him, and I just wanted to get married to him, and I felt this like a strong sense of devotion, just this huge spiritual connection. And I would have dreams, and in the dreams, I would see him when he's like 80 years old. I remember I had this dream once where um, I saw our tombs, I think they're called. When you die, they put you on the earth. It was him on one side, and it was me on the other, and I just thought that was such a beautiful that's what a beautiful almost like metaphor. We're in this together, like we're in this life together, and then in many other lives too. So I did not feel that. I have not felt that sense of devotion with anybody else. I feel maybe attraction, like a physical attraction, and maybe even like admiration for whatever qualities they find that I find maybe are, you know, valuable, but I don't feel that sense of devotion with like a soulmate, as we would call them in Twin Flame universe.
For me, my sexual experience was like completely spiritual. Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even, like I wasn't even in my body. I felt, and when you talk about devotion to your twin flame, I felt like I found God. Like I never knew this was possible on Earth. I never knew that human sex could take you to these levels of connectivity with the divine. Um, Literally, I tasted heaven for me, and it was phenomenal, life shattering and altering. Before that, yes, I was also promiscuous, and then I could not. It stopped everything. It just transformed and changed. And then his 5D self would chase me around everywhere, even till this day. And I see my kids and I see the future and all that kind of stuff, and all the signs, the synchronicities, the dreams, the madness.
Yeah.
Yes, you do, right?
Grounded in, grounded in, grounded in. Remember to ground it in.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So our audience knows what you mean, because a lot of people, I think, get high on this and get lost in it.
No, and that's not the intention, right? That's not the purpose. The purpose here is to find peace. And you know, the world is very mental. It's very like in the head, and so I was too. Remember, you know, to ground it all in, find peace, to really connect with yourself, with your feelings, and find peace. And you know, when it comes to twin flames, what matters is how you feel, and logic will follow from that. So I remember trying to solve. I think I actually commented on your questions. It was like I remember when I first started the journey, I just had all these questions about my twin flame, and um, along the journey, I've just learned it's really not about the questions or like the mental whatever it is. It's about how you're feeling, right? It's about how you're feeling, and it's about feeling that feeling and replacing it with love. So actually, let's do the exercise. You know, we're over here talking mentally about twin flames. Let's do a quick exercise, and then we can feel into the energy of our
Sure,
unions and see how it's feeling, and then we can do the mirror exercise.
sure.
How does
I'm
that
happy
sound?
for you to lead, and I'll be the studious student. So go ahead. I don't know what we're doing here, but I think it's the mirror exercise. Go ahead.
Okay. Feel into the energy of your union. Feel into your heart. How you're feeling when you call your divine masculine in. How does that feel for you?
I feel love. I feel innocence as well. I feel like childlike. Today, I've been listening to some after my coaching session, and it was me and my twin flame just dancing. We were having such a great time in this bar and dancing, and just quite seductive, but sensual, but innocent and childlike and loving, and just really just like nothing else exists, right? Just the two of you. Like imagine also there was that point, when you have like ice skaters on an ice rink, and then you have the man there, and then the woman goes under the legs, and she goes up in the air, and all that kind of stuff. That comes up for me, and because from my Akashic records, which is records of when your soul was created, they've told us we come from the Mintaka. So I've seen before as well, like the mermaids, and us like him as the merman, and all the swimming and going around, and then one on top, one on the other. So I feel very at one with my twin flame, actually.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
You're in a good place in your union then.
Oh yes, I have been triggered the f out.
Yeah, and you will continue to be until until forever, really, until you become imperfect. You come into perfect union with God, right? It's gonna be there's gonna be upsets to heal.
Yeah,
You know, when I feel into the energy of my union, I'm angry at my twin flame.
really.
I want to throw a water bottle at him.
Since
I want to
when?
throw something at him. Huh?
Have you always been angry at him?
No, just right now. I mean, I like you know, I if I feel into like how I feel towards him, I'm a little mad at him because we're in separation, right? And so we have not been communicating, and yeah, I'm angry at something that's not communicated to me. So then we would take it to step number two, which would be I'm angry at myself because I'm not communicating with myself. And yeah, it's true. I feel like I have not been truly talking to myself about what it is that I truly desire, and so he's mirroring me in the sense of like, you need to figure your stuff out, Ariel, and figure out what it is that you want, and like be honest about it and pursue it. So yeah, I give myself some love there and some compassion for being in the journey and for not knowing all the right answers right away.
You can visualize this, you can feel into it, but you can close your eyes and just imagine that inner self, that inner child, and just give her or him all the love, all the attention, all the compassion, all the affirmation, all the gratitude, whatever it needs that she needs. And you can also imagine God shining his light, giving all that guidance and support and faith in order to take you forwards. And also reaffirm that separation is an illusion, and your twin flame always
Right.
resides within you. Always resides within you. I mean, I was doing an exercise yesterday night where I was imagining like how it would feel if there was someone else laying next to me, and then how it would feel if my twin flame was laying next to me. And my twin flame is no longer a separate person; is literally me now. And the triggers are your friends. I have been triggered so much that now I just feel love for my twin, and his triggers have reduced, thankfully. So I hope they don't get more, but we'll see. How do you feel now,
Yeah.
Ariel?
Well, I feel very like giggly towards myself. I feel that like innocence, like you're saying. It's like I know that like I know that I'm on a spiritual journey and that I needed to essentially heal to be able to be with him, and so I'm compassionate to his decision that he made, and I feel love. Yeah,
Good. So that's the
feel love.
mirror exercise, displayed very well. I wanted to talk about the divine masculine on the journey, and if you've had any insight from your twin flame, because you were with your twin flame for a long period, of how it is for
Yeah.
them, and the love, that the love is the only thing that's going to transcend this. Like, I get people messaging on TikTok, and I see on forums, and they hate their twin flame, they're angry, they're this, they're that. And I was like that in the beginning. I mean, I've only been on my journey since October last year, 2022, and I only started Twin Flame Universe end of March, April beginning. Um, but I had to really
But
work
you're such a
hard.
student, so you're like,
I'm a straight A perfectionist, but like
yeah,
literally, I realized that you gotta love him. You gotta love because it's you.
right.
So, do you have any insight about your divine masculine and what he went through, what he's going through? Like, because people vilify them and treat them like they're a piece of, you know. I don't.
Wow,
I see
that's
the mission.
intense.
Yeah.
I would not recommend anybody to do that. I would not recommend that you spend your energy hating anybody. That sounds like an energy leak. It sounds like self torture in a way. Definitely don't do that. um, Reach out for support. Like get coaching. Like yeah, I understand that the blocks are really intense, and I can understand why someone might feel like they hate their twin flame. But remember that it's not personal, right? It's vibrational, and I do not feel that way towards my twin flame at this point. But I remember being triggered, and I did feel a sense of hatred towards him because I was really really upset at what he was mirroring me. But only through loving him can you really like transcend that experience. If you send hate towards your twin flame, or if you spend time hating them, you're just sitting on the opposite. It's like you have a big pile of shit and you're just like rubbing it all over you. Why would you do that? That's not compassionate towards you. That's not loving. That's not gonna get you anywhere. It's not gonna get you any results. What's more loving, what's more compassionate towards you is to really spend the time and the dedication to um, to heal, and you can heal anything through the mirror exercises. This doesn't apply through just Twin Flames. I've used it for my finances. I used it in my in my social relationships. I used it in my career. I've used it um, and with my family. Even you can really heal every aspect of your life when you're going through the Twin Flame journey, and you can use the mirror exercise to love yourself through any block, any upset, because the goal here is to become one with God. And do you think that God is a hateful energy? Of course not. That doesn't make any sense, right? That's separation. That's ego consciousness. That is getting triggered and is attached to that trigger. From what I know of my twin flame, yes, he is in a healing journey as well. I haven't heard a lot from him, but from what I do know, he was able to start his healing journey, his trauma healing journey. He healed through multiple addictions, through sex addiction, through alcohol addiction. He definitely mirrored to me all the healing that I've been doing. He I like what you said. You said my coach said like it's okay, go over to social media, get triggered. Like I love that you said that because
My coach
that
is
was
the
not my
best coach
mentality.
in the world. I love my coach.
Love appear, correct?
My coach's name is Madhu, and they see themselves as a divine masculine, and they are
Mm-hmm.
Indian. He's Indian, and they're in a same-sex relationship with an Italian woman. And my twin flame's Italian. I'm Indian, so it's very good parallels. She's they're homosexual,
Amazing.
and they
Well, that is a great advice because I saw that. I went on my Twin Flame, his social media, and I was like, and everything that he was posting was about healing and about loving himself and about like learning how to love himself.
you know what? People say block them. People say delete their social media. But the thing is, triggering is the way to heal, right? You could sit here and be like, I self love, but your twin flame is going to show you exactly where you need to heal. So my coach says, look at it, get triggered, get healed. Don't numb yourself to it. Don't ignore it. Don't listen to your intuition, transcend it, and then see them change. Love it. Because otherwise,
Right?
what happens is you sit under a rock pretending to do your healing journey, but you probably don't know what needs to be healed anyway because it's all unconscious. And then your twin flame comes back to your life, triggers the hell out of you, and then you separate again. Like I'd rather kill me now, and then transcend.
Right.
You know.
In my experience, like God has always like find like even if I don't have my twin flame around, God finds ways to triggers me in other ways, and through my job, through my friends, like they're yeah. So it's like yes or yes, you're moving through this block. Like there really is no running away. And then when I find myself numbing out, because I'll be honest, of course, like I sometimes I'm like, oh okay, I see myself, I'm numbing out. I need to recollect and feel my feelings. And again, like I said, I cannot underestimate like the power of reaching out for support. You don't have to do this alone. There are some blocks that are really, really intense, and that I've just required somebody to sit with me so that I can, you know, patiently work through the mirror exercise because it takes a lot of spiritual energy. And sometimes I have to take a nap. I don't know if it's happened to you. Do a lot of inner work for like a good hour, hour and a half, and you're like, oh gosh, I need to take a nap.
After I have my session, I like to dance. I am so high vibing after I finish my session because my coach
That's amazing.
inspires me and we feel so amazing and take over the world. She's like, she believes in me so much and I love it. And she's read my Akasha. She's like, it's amazing. I'm doing so well. But I was going to say that if the divine masculine, for example, if your divine masculine is running away and not looking at your socials or connecting with you, the universe, once you're on this journey, the God or the universe will find ways to trigger you, like you said, through work or life or karmics. So it's going to happen no matter what. I'd say buckle in and do the work. Otherwise, you'll be dragged along, right? And the pain is your pain. The pain they give to you that you think they're giving to you is actually your own pain in you that needs to be
Right.
healed.
100%. 100%. 100%.
I want to
Don't give separation any energy. Don't that's what like my coach would say to me. Like, it's not real. Like, don't give that any energy. Don't waste your energy. You know.
I want to talk about being gay and being a twin flame because
Gypsy.
there's not that many LGBTQ plus. There are, but not that many on the twin flame journey, and who are expressive. And then when this whole thing comes about, you're a masculine or a feminine, it throws a lot of gay people, a lot of LGBTQ plus people off. Non-binary people will get really
Yeah.
triggered by this stuff.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. What do you want to say?
Well, don't run away. Like, don't run away from those triggers. Like, yeah, don't run away. I would say, like, if you are exploring which polarity you are, that's fine. That's safe. Like, the community will support you and will love you through that. And don't run away from that feeling. Definitely, a big trigger for me was feeling unrepresented because I was like, am I the only gay guy in this group? Like, I do not know any other gay guy in this group, and I'm feeling a little bit like, is this meant for me? Like, is Twin Flames meant for gay people too, or is this just like a like a heterosexual thing? So I was really confused for some time. But it was just an upset,
There's lesbian couples, but I haven't seen any gay couple actually. Have you?
Right, like gay. I was, a bit more specific, like gay men. Yeah, like I didn't. I mean, I don't think that there
They've
is
got
a gay
transgender.
male.
They've got trans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but like I said, like as I didn't run away from the triggers, and I sat with it. I worked through it with coaching. I spoke about it with my coach. I talked about it with the community. It just became clear to me that I was, in a way, just healing the collective gay consciousness, and I still am. And so a lot of those things, they come my way, and then it's just funny actually. When I moved to PR, I started working at a gay bar. I told God, like, this is not what I want. Like, I do not want to work in this at all. But I was kind of like pushed there against my will in a way, so that I can get triggered by being around other gay men and learning how to relate to gay men in a way which honors my union. And it took a lot of inner work, but I feel really peaceful there now. And yeah, this is totally for everybody. Sometimes it's for everybody. Everybody deserves their true love. And if you get triggered over like which polarity you are, ask yourself why it triggers you, right? Like, why do you feel the need to be both? Like, why do you,
And it's
are
energy.
you really both?
It's energy. It's not your gender. It's nothing to do with your sex.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work in a gay bar when I was 18 in London, and I used to get touched up a lot, and I didn't like it. They used to smack my bum, and the things they would say, it was crude. Anyway,
Right.
we move. I want to talk about, so okay, so you met your twin flame, you had this amazing connection, and then the triggering started, and then you left, and then I guess you were in separation, right? And then you started researching and finding out what it's about. Then you got into twin flames and you got into the healing stuff. But in the time
Mm-hmm.
now that you've been obviously without your twin flame, what about this sexual energy that you feel? And you said obviously you feel it the most with your twin flame. And then, should you be celibate? Should you do this? Should you do that? Like, how do you follow that intuition of desire, sexuality, sensuality? Um, and then I'll answer a little bit
Well,
what I think.
yeah. I mean, this is like my core block. Sexuality has been my core block in my journey. It's been probably the most that I've had to heal through this journey. Has been that. So I don't have all the answers because I would not. I don't. I don't think that I'm 100% there yet.
But do you think that
But
it's quite a common one for gay people as well? Because often gay people are branded as promiscuous, as having lots of partners, and the reasons perhaps they're doing it is for attention, validation, for the guilt, the shame, filling their cup, the void. And with my twin flame, I see that as well reflected a lot. And I used to be like that as well. So that is like you said, it's a like you're healing a collective consciousness. So twin flames purpose in life to become in union is not only to clear their own blocks and their ancestral blocks, but it's also humanity's blocks. And if they've got a mission to do.
yeah, Right. So I was actually like right before this call, I was healing through this with my coach, and it was we touched intimacy, right? It's like that sacral energy is, yes, it's sensual, but it's also like an energy of intimacy. So learning how to be intimate with yourself, how to be intimate with people around you, and learning the appropriate way to be intimate. And I think maybe for a
Respectful.
lot of gay men, we've learned that like intimacy, you get to experience it through a sexual experience. That's what you that and also using sex as a way to essentially like get high, using it like a drug, which is also very common. Like it's you get this surge of energy and you feel really like happy, and then um, it goes away, and then you find another partner, and it becomes a little bit of a cycle. That has been something that I've had to heal through as well in my union. But I don't think that. I mean, if you want to become celibate, I definitely know like people in the twin flame journey who are celibate, and who um, put boundaries on their sexual energy and said like this is only for my twin flame only, and yeah, I have fluctuated in terms of that. I like in twin flame universe, what they say is twin flame sex is the only sex, which I agree, and I feel really good with that in my heart. But it has been a bit challenging for me sometimes because you want your twin flame here now, and he's not there, and I'm like I get really frustrated. Um, so
So
I
with
won't talk too much about
with
that because that is my core blog side.
so with celibacy, there's different. Some people will go to the extremes of not even self pleasure, but with Twin Flame Universe, they talk about self pleasure is fine, and give your sexuality to God, which sometimes I don't
Wow.
understand, but I'm starting to understand that more. But what does that mean for you? Does that make sense for you?
When I started doing that, like I started like doing that to giving my essential energy to God, and I realized that really what that energy wanted was just to connect with people. And so I'm like, okay, I thought that growing up as a teenager, I was like really promiscuous. I was on Grinder, I was on all these apps, and I really enjoyed meeting people. And so now it's like retraining myself in a way, like relearning how to relate to people. Really, what I want is to be intimate with people and to create like loving community. So when I give that energy to God, that energy is creative energy. So it's typically what I want is like to connect with people. I'll feel this search of like creating content, of having a I don't know like doing a conversation or talking to people on the street. That has been something in which my sexual energy has been transmuted across this journey. And I think everybody's different though, right? So I know some people here. I was actually watching the Life Purpose class, and Jeff talked about how he he surrendered that energy to God. He didn't repress it. He just surrendered it to God, and then he would utilize it um, to put it towards his projects, like through his business and through what he was doing. But he didn't repress it, which for some time I was repressing. I was like, I don't want to feel this, God. Can you take this away from me?
Shame.
Because it's like distracting. But as I keep surrendering, God's like, I want you to really, go out there and relate and share with people and not hide.
I mean, sometimes
So it's been a
when you get bored, that's when you want to look for attention. When you've got not much to do, and I feel like with the LGBTQ plus community, but mainly gay community, because that's the one I can speak from. There's an element of not respecting yourself, like not respecting your body, and like giving it away easily, and it's not seen as a divine vessel. It's seen as like there's so much stuff out there now with OnlyFans and porn, and every single person seems to have that, and my twin flame has talked about creating OnlyFans, and he does a lot of sexual content, and it's been very triggering in that front. But I've been looking at myself as well with that. About I mean, at one point, I remember in the past when I would go to a new city or a new country, I'd like get the app out, who's around, and it
right,
was like a habit. And I had to
right,
spend like 2 weeks because I was abroad and I was at other places where I just sat with my inner child and I gave her all the attention, all the love. Because I realized when I was a kid, I wasn't given the attention I needed. My parents too busy.
Right.
I forgot God was there. So yeah. But
Yeah, 100%. That attention is a core block for a lot of gay men, and it's been for me. I can speak to that for myself. Yeah, it has totally been that, and um, yeah, we use sex as a way to get attention a lot, and maybe also like not valuing our soul essence, right? Like valuing the sensual pleasure over our soul, when in reality they're union with one another. They're connected. God is very sensual, but he's also very soulful. You know.
and my coach, she's he, it would be a he because by masculine. They always, oh, I'll say he. He always says that I don't want to control you because in my Akashic records it talks about being free. Like there's an element of having to be having freedom, and it's like that's why that he's always saying like if you want to check in yourself, and if it's your intuition, if God's saying if that's what you feel like, do it. If you feel like you know there's an inspiration to meet someone, like do work on the blocks first and then do it. Like and for me, I haven't actually like slept with anyone for many months. I may have like, you know, when I've been out, someone's flirted with me or whatever, but it's nothing has happened that way because I tried it before and it wasn't as good as what I had with my
Right.
twin flame. But I do feel like there is urges because some people are waiting for their masculine or feminine or whatever it is for years, years and years and years. And it's like, are we
Right.
meant to become like monks and nuns here or? But anyway, it's everyone's no
Well,
judgment.
definitely, if it's been years, get a coach, right? Like, so you can advance in your swim journey. And I relate to what you're saying. I always go to God first. So it's like I ask God, like, what do you want me to do? Like, should I, like if somebody asks me out, I ask God, like, hey, should I, go hang out with this person? Should I go? Like, should I go? Should I interact? And sometimes God is very clear, no. It's like, no, you should not interact. They don't have the best intentions. And sometimes it's like, yeah, go see what happens. Maybe they'll give you something that you'll learn something, or they'll trigger something in you that you need to heal, and it's okay. But I think the most important thing is to always do it with God, right? Always do it with that alignment
Because I think people can get
in mind.
resentful, can't they? Like, oh, my twin flame's, married, or he's with his karmic, or he's doing this, or he's on
Right.
whatever. Like, I know for a fact, my twin flame practically lives on Grinder, like every hour of the day. Like he's on it, and then he was with his ex when uh, and that triggered my healing, and it healed a lot of abandonment and hurt feelings for me. So that was good. Let's change the gear. I want to talk about God is seen as like a dirty word in the spiritual world and also for the gay world, and people call it universe or source or whatever. And you're very much you've talked about God. Were you spiritual before? Were you into God? Like for me, God was kind of when Twin Flame Universe started talking about God, it was a bit weird because I used to say source and universe. Tell me more about your relationship with the divine.
Well, if the word God triggers you, then that's probably because there's some religious trauma to be worked through, and yeah, it's an upset that I would recommend that you explore and heal if God triggers you. I was already spiritual before Transcend Universe, and yeah, the word God used to trigger me because of being gay. But I worked through it with coaching, and over time, God does not really trigger me, and I can use God, source, the universe interchangeably. I personally like the word God; it feels good to me, but it just depends on what you prefer to use. I feel like God is such a beautiful word to me. I don't know. It's just it feels like it's a personal relationship with God. Whereas when I use the word the universe, to me it just feels so like impersonal. Like the universe doesn't have any stake over what happens to me.
Uh-huh.
Whereas like God is like I am His child. That I can relate to in the terms of like I matter. I feel important because I am important because I am one with God, and God is this mother father figure. But even beyond that, right? God is just love. And yeah, I was already spiritual. I was already uh, I was not Christian per se, but I was, very receptive to like Christian theology, to Muslim theology. My twin flame was very into yoga. He was a yoga instructor, so he, would read like Buddhist teachings, and he would teach me a lot about Hinduism and all these different Eastern religions. So I've always been very open, in terms of
This is
religion and theology.
interesting.
And
Like, because your twin flame's spiritual, right? And like I've met some twin flames that we met in an ashram and we fell in love, and I was like, great, because my one's not. But everyone is spiritual in their own way, right? So you could be spiritual as a footballer who doesn't believe in God, but when you're in alignment shooting that ball, you're really feeling spirit, your energy, you're connected. So it's
right,
not how it looks, and it has to be the same way. Um,
right.
but I do wish my one was like, doing yoga and like, or like meditating. And he's currently on vacation, and he's reading a book, right? And I was zooming in. I was like, I hope he's reading a book about like mental health or mindfulness or healing inner child. He's not. He's reading Game of Thrones. Anyway, Game of Thrones does have elements of spirituality within it, doesn't it? There is there's magic in Game of Thrones. There's ego and or who knows what they're gonna
Well,
learn.
Manny, as you continue to heal and go deeper in your spirituality, he will meet you there. That's your twin flame, right? And if he's triggering you, then that's just something to heal. But God is definitely in Game of Thrones. God is in everything. God is in everything. You can find love in multiple ways, right? So,
So we've only got a few more questions left, and like I'm just gonna ask you, like, are there any tips and tricks you want to give to people who are new on this journey, who are struggling on this journey, and are there any sort of like anything else that you think that people should know about?
well, number one, get involved with the community. Like, ask questions in the public forum. Um, Engage, make friends. Like it'll be like such a beautiful time. If you reach out for support. Um, I'm a huge believer in reaching out for support. Like get yourself a coach. If you are having financial issues, a lot of coaches offer group coaching for a very low price. The first introductory lesson, I believe, coaching, I believe is 50% off for new students. You can get the free course, which has like 7 lessons, I believe.
Eight,
You
eight.
can also get the book on Amazon, which I think it's $20, something like that. Yeah, if you're having some financial abundance like blocks, there definitely are ways um, to get involved and to get some support. But definitely like get support. That's
And
key.
if someone wanted to like reach out to you for support, what was your Instagram handle again?
It's in Spanish. I should probably change it to make it more easier. Sanando con Ariel, and then I'll text it to you so you can add it
Put it in the comments.
um, to the
Yes.
bio.
And I'm also a trained coach, so I'm more than happy and willing to guide people. I want to finish off with life purpose and why that's very important for twin flames.
Mm.
Do you want me to give an intro for that a little bit more? And then you want to, yeah, okay. I'm not feeling intuitively. I feel like I should give it. So each twin flame couple has a specific purpose on Earth, a life purpose, right? To get to the stage of meeting your twin flame, you have to have dissolved enough of your ego and also to have a desire for true love. So to meet your twin flame is like a miraculous event because though everybody has one, not everybody will meet their twin flame. We are at the age of Aquarius of Ascension where it's getting easier to meet your twin flame and more will come into union and more will meet each other. But people give up, right? And in order to really root in and like hammer in and really like knock it out of the park with your union, it's very important to know your purpose, your life purpose that God's given to you, that is for both of you, and to start doing it. Even if your twin flame is not, um, you know, in union with you right now, not in harmonious union, it's very important to do your life purpose. And for me, in my Akashic records, I came out as the manifestation and communication realm, which is quite rare to have two, and especially manifestation. And my coach said we're here to teach people about that, how to manifest things. And my psychic has said that it's about twin flame work and humanitarian work. And that lines up with a lot of the stuff I've done, but I've done a lot of stuff with LGBT in the past. So can you tell us a bit about your perception about life purpose and what do you think your union is here and why is it important for everyone to have their purpose?
Right. So I mean, think about it. Like you come into union with your twin flame. Now what? Right? It's like, what are you gonna do? It's you have a gift and you're meant to share that gift and you're expanding on that gift, and it not living your life purpose when you're in a twin flame journey will start feeling more like bad. You know, I think that once you accept and commit to the journey, life will naturally lead you into that path of accepting and playing around with your life purpose. I would say, you know, it's like don't confuse your life purpose with your job, but definitely your job relates to your life purpose. The way that my coach explains it, she's like, you know, if you are, let's say that your life purpose is to share the teachings of union, which is, you know, to influence the universe with the world, right? But you need to make money along the way. So take a job in which you're gonna, like, A, pay the bills, and then B, you're gonna grow in lessons necessary for you to support your life purpose. Like, for me, you know, being a bartender, because I'm working as a part-time bartender, I'm like, that's not my life purpose. However, through this job, I'm learning how to talk to people. You know, practicing being in a lot of physical, social contacts, which I used to be very shy, and it could make me like, nervous almost. But I kind of got over that working, you know, there. It was the universe, God, pushing me to get out of my comfort zone because it really wasn't comfortable for me. Whereas I feel like my life purpose is definitely healing, right? Like I feel like that's what I'm meant to do. But along the way, there has been many lessons for me to learn and to pick up. My twin flame attracted me into his life when he was in alignment with his life purpose. He is a botanist. He works with plants, and I remember when he stopped paying attention to guys and started focusing on his business. That's when I was the most magnetized to him. I mean, it wasn't even like a conscious decision. It just was like I just forgot about him for like months at a time, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom. You know, it's like a like a bee and honey. It was just so definitely living your life purpose will magnetize your twin flame to you 100%. Because it's you loving yourself and loving the world through your gift.
So it's interesting. So obviously, you say you're working as a bartender, but you're learning your skills, you're honing in your expertise to be able to live the life purpose you're meant to. And sometimes, like people will say, "Oh, you know, my twin flame, you know, he's just doing whatever he wants. He's not like actually doing anything productive or positive." But how do you know? Like my twin flame is a photographer. He wants to be an influencer and also wants to do other sort of like whatever stuff that which I don't always agree with. However, the skills that one learns through this, networking, social media, confidence, negotiating, persuasion, marketing, business, communicate, whatever it is, this will in the end come to join you in your purpose to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than sitting at home and drowning and obsessing, work on yourself, work on your career, and focus on that energy because twin flame energy is very atomic. It's very high. Like someone said to me once that it's like 10 times the energy of a regular human being. That if you're just going to keep it within your union together, it's going to implode. It's going to explode. You've got to share it to balance it out. So yeah, it's been an absolute
100%. Right? No, yeah, absolutely. Like you and your twin flame share a purpose, and you come together, and it may look different. Like I'm not into plans at all. So at first I was a little bit like confused as to how our life purposes align. But then I started realizing that actually, like I'm like maybe more understanding of people and more of a healer, and it was easier for me to go down that route of understanding social relationships and understanding like people dynamics. Whereas to him, he's more scientific. You know, he knows about science. Right, and so I was like, oh, you just work with plants and I work with people, and both are beautiful, both are great, you know, and we I felt like I was very aligned. During the time when we were living together, I definitely felt like we were very aligned in that regard. And to this day, I still feel like we're just healing through a lot of our blocks and a lot of our um, insecurity. That has been my biggest block in my life purpose journey, to heal through insecurity. And the more that I heal it, the easier that it gets to show up and show myself to the world.
And you know what? We can't logicalize our life purpose because that's something that will be revealed as well. Like we can try to control it. And I remember like Jeff and Shalia, who are the founders of Twin Flame Universe, they talked about Shalia was doing all her inner work and spiritual work, and she was looking at Jeff, and he was just doing all the business, marketing, and like matrix stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, why is that? But when they got together, they decided to make a Twin Flame Universe business, right? So he had the skills on one hand and skill. And I always give this metaphor. Imagine you're in a house, two of you. The house needs cleaning, and you need to cook dinner. Now, either you can clean together, then cook together later, or one could do the cooking, one could do the cleaning, and then you come together. It's done, right? Your joint consciousness works together, and that's how it is. So Ariel is such a beautiful name, and do you know why it's a beautiful name? Because it's the name of the Little Mermaid, and I come from the mermaid planet, and my twin flame gets a lot of mermaid emoticons on his social media. So I love the name Ariel, but it was absolutely pleasurable talking to you today. Is there any final things you want to say before we end today's session?
I would say that being in a twin flame journey is a blessing. It's challenging, but it's a blessing. It's a gift. Honor it. When God gives you a gift, and He says, "I'm going to give you this gift, but you have to change and purify your consciousness." Take that gift. Allow yourself to change. Allow yourself to be purified. That's the only right answer. I don't know why you would not want to take that gift.
Right. Thank you very much. And I look forward. Maybe we'll have more sessions. Maybe we'll have more people. But for today, the first episode was serenaded by Ariel Sabillon. Thank you very much from Puerto Rico. And God bless your permanent, harmonious twin flame union.